Have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought, is it actually possible to build things in this country? And I don't mean in the way that Pauline Hanson says. We don't make things in this country anymore. I want Australians dying in steel smelting accidents, not foreigners. I love foreigners. You know, an nostalgic hark back to the good old days where you didn't have to complete year 10 to get a decent job. Oh wait, that's now. In fact, I think that's the only way you can get a decent job these days. But she's right. Australia used to be a country that made stuff. Clothes, machinery, movies. Yeah! I like the second one the best. And of course, the greatest car of all time, the Ford Falcon, which due to its general use, I think should have been called the Macca's Runmobile. But manufacturing formed about a quarter of Australia's GDP, a quarter of total employment by the post-war era, so that was awesome. 1 in 4 jobs, 1 in 4 pounds, as we didn't have the dollar yet, which I'm still pissed that we changed the currency. I would have loved if you went on a Macca's run in your Falcon. That'll be £8.
Well, I can easily afford that with me well-paid job in manufacturing children's cigarettes. After all, I'm employed in the sector that gives us a quarter of our nation's pounds.
Ah, so you're a quarter pounder. Yes, that intro was unnecessarily long. Yes, I twisted all the words around just to make that joke. The thing that allowed Australian manufacturing to survive was basically
tariffs.
I'm waiting for the day that Trump says in one of his ad-libs.
The Aussies and Kiwis, they're very nice people. They used to have these beautiful tariffs. They were rich like you wouldn't believe it, but now they're not so rich.
Tariffs were very popular. Labour unions and the business world loved them. High employment, no competition. By the 70s and 80s, we had some of the highest tariffs in the world amongst developed nations. The problem with that is if you don't have competition, much like the island of Mauritius, you start evolving shit like the dodo, because if your guaranteed customers, as all they can buy are your admittedly hilarious business shirts and stubby shorts combos, that's what your industry's become. Just literally. Remember Dodo Internet? Fuck me! This was bad for another reason. I'm gonna need you to pay attention. It's boring. So I will randomly insert pictures of the Dodo mascot and you tell me how many we put in at the end. You need to understand. Oh, that's one already. This is gonna be fun as. In economics. Fuck, I feel like I'm explaining one of those board games that takes longer to explain the rules than to play it. Like, look at this. How much does this sound like those shit cards that are always in them? There are 4 major inputs. Land, resources, capital, and labor. Each economy has a finite amount of these. No, that was a trick one. That was the Angry Birds mascot. Long story short, an ideal economy diverts what inputs it has into whatever it's best at producing. So, if you're good at making cola, and we are, you put all your resources into making that. This is what's known in economics as a comparative advantage. America, for example, has a large supply of all 4 of these inputs, which is why it's the most powerful nation in the world, because they could set up many different industries that are competitive on a global level. China previously lacked capital, so it leverages land resources and giant labor force to become the world's manufacturing base, while small city-states like Singapore, oh, it's back, it's been a while, huh? They relied on trying to train their labor force to fit into a service economy that had distinct specialities and advantages. So, you know, logistics, accounting, what with all the Asians and Indians, am I right? Australia, on the other hand, has land and resources, comparatively little capital, and come on, next to no labour. I mean, this is the hardest working man in Australia.
And I'm getting paid appropriately for my input. $800 an hour.
So if we don't have much money, and we don't have many workers, it's probably not a good idea to put what little money and workers we have into making knockoff Disney toys when you're competing against Vietnam, who have that down pat. I mean, as an avid fan of Space Boys 3, I can't tell the difference. Can you? You're starting to get it though, right? Like making our own clothes, shoes. All right, that's enough. Airplanes. Oh no, it's not apparently. Countries like China, Japan, Germany, the US, they've already built up the infrastructure and expertise to make these things at a more efficient scale than us. So continuing on with this idea of,
No, we don't need Italian suits. We've got dryers about. Good enough for a president, it is.
It'd be like if we started putting all of our money into our national ice hockey team. Did you even know we have one? They're called the Mighty Roos. They should have called themselves Cool Runnings too. Who would have guessed we have a hockey team? Look, now I know that they exist. I'm instantly a fan, but it would be strange if we started sinking millions into them when we could be putting our money behind a sport that we can actually beat the Canadians in, such as shuffleboarding. Anyway, that's why Hawke and Keating pulled the plug. In the 80s and 90s, they lifted the tariffs. That made us far richer because we started providing services the world actually wants as opposed to forcing a few c***s in Adelaide.
Buy this shirt.
It's itchy.
You a patriot or not, mate? wear it, and support the fucking hockey roos.
Mighty ruse.
Whatever.
We'll go into details of how much richer Hawke and Keating made us in another video, but that's basically the reason you endlessly hear neats on Reddit whinge that Hawke and Keating were neoliberal. That's what they mean when they say neoliberal. Hawke and Keating stopped us from making shit socks. Bastards! I'd have absolutely bought those socks out of national pride. Geez, the Chinese socks are 5 for 1. Every man has his price. They instead refocused the very limited capital and labour we had into things that we could actually excel at, like conning Asians into paying for shit university degrees. And this apron. I mean, at the end of the day, we are an island of sub 30 million. Keeping the tariffs up would have only been slightly less insane than arguing, yeah, Fiji can produce world-class helicopters and supercomputers and dildos, everything, shut the borders. They'd be back to cannibalism within an hour. Yes, people have this nostalgia for companies like Holden and Ford, but guys, you know what's better than nostalgia? Triggering everyone who lives in Geelong by shutting it all down. You don't have a job anymore, sucked in. Seriously though, that's a myth. Your trot types like to paint this picture that Labor let all manufacturing be sacrificed to the free market, but manufacturing that had a use, like Holden and Ford, they were retained with government subsidies, basically as a Geelong-specific dole, really, but also because they sort of acted as a college football for engineers and designers that would then be talent scouted for jobs in niche industries that Hawke and Keating thought would inevitably spring up if you kept these minds active. And they were right. Well, sort of. Fuck, are we still going with this? 'Cause I'm still entertained! I'll tell you, biggest tragedy of Bill Shorten not getting elected in 2019, easily. This one's heartbreaking. Bill saw the opportunity to fulfill Hawke and Keating's prophecy. The car manufacturing base of Australia was perfectly placed to take advantage of the EV revolution. We had the rare earth minerals, we had the brains and infrastructure kept on life support because of those subsidies. We could have been the Jetsons. I'm not even over-egging it. You combine Bill Shorten's EV program with John Barilaro's flying car development grant, Stitch. You remember that? I forgot he did that. He spent our money on flying car research. I tell you, in some alternate universe, he's riding around. Yes, just like Harry Potter 2, Stitch. The best one. Right when this long-term strategizing was about to pay off, the Liberals cut Holden and Ford subsidies. They killed Holden and Ford. Just about the most un-Australian thing you could possibly do, yet they have the gall to stand in front of 8 fucking flags while doing it. All that careful, nuanced planning, put together by some of the greatest minds on earth. All that investment over a 40-year period, right when it was about to pay off. Nup, all for naught. Just because the Liberals are c***s, basically. I tell ya, there's only one thing more depressing than doing political videos, and that's doing historical political videos, because it really multiplies how dumb all the commenters are that are going to say stupid shit like, the majors have destroyed this country. Vote independent. It makes you realise, fuck, if they don't even appreciate the immediate bananas in the hand of, look monkeys, look, poor monkeys are 10,000 bananas richer under Labor. 10,000! Fuck me, you could have bought a Ford with that if there were any left. Here you go on, trading your bananas for a lemon.
Holden, man.
It's just astonishing. While they're counting their cash that they got in tax cuts and wage increases. Nah, both majors have killed this country. Vote independent. What chance do you ever have of explaining to them the long-term vision spanning decades into the future that Labor tries to jam into the tiny little stints of power they have before being banished to the opposition benches for another eternity? The P-brains aren't capable of understanding that what Labor's currently offering won't just set us up for the next decade. This will set us up for the next century. Future made in Australia. If we let this slip by, this would be like saying during the Industrial Revolution, nah, we can get by with feudalism. What Labor is offering in this election is the biggest program since Reconstruction. Except, of course, Scott Morrison's Crocodile Farm proposal. Wow! Steve Irwin would have loved it. What's being offered to us is essentially combining the best of the 40s, the 80s, and the best of the 21st century all into one, as green tech has enabled our nation's comparative advantage to once again fall back into high-paying factory jobs, because this time their product won't be shit socks, their product will be, how much more exciting is this? Decarbonising the planet. That's Labor's vision. One where Australia becomes a good Saudi Arabia, where we'll get rich off of saving the planet. It will raise the living standards of the working class. It will give our investment class the inside track to invest invest in incredible wealth-generating green industries instead of what they currently seem to invest in, which is more fucking holy molies. That will lead to other green industries being invented right here in Australia, cementing us as a world leader in the inevitable green global economy. That's the future Labor wants to build. That's the future only Labor envisioned, while the rest of the so-called independents and minor parties are so fucking backwards that they're still stuck in the 70s with their vote-siphoning mirages of, oh, the major parties won't tax their resources like Norway. It's too long to explain why here, but watch this video. It's sort of part one to this, but in short, the why don't we tax our resources like Norway line is a scam pushed by a scam think tank to con the youth of Australia into voting for independence and want to cut your wages. They know full well it doesn't work. We have a 100-year-long history of it not working. Mining companies just rolled Queensland Labor for trying it just last year. It sounds good. That catchphrase makes me feel nice. And that's all that matters when you're an independent or a green. Who can come up with the best false advertising? Why be truthful when you can sell an impossible utopia? You'll never have to deliver on it. Go ham. Unlike the Australia Institute's well-marketed con, however, Labor's admittedly poorly marketed plan is the sneaky judo way to get rich off our resources, because our mining industry will be selling our resources to us instead of China, that we will then be turning into things that are worth more than rocks and selling those things to China instead of buying them from China. This is the 4D chess way to get rich off our minerals. Why? Because long-term, it will create another economic engine that will rival the mining industry so that we're nowhere near as dependent on the mining industry, and therefore its influence is diluted. On top of that though, it's just a bigger, bolder, far more exciting vision of Australia than the Australia Institute's dumb Neanderthal solution to fucking everything, which is tax. Really? That's all your ideas for government? One fucking thing?
No, me have second idea. Me get crossbench to block important shit so they get media attention at the expense of getting important thing done and more support.
2 ideas. They're the shake and bake of think tanks. Anytime I explain Future Made in Australia, people always wonder, why haven't I heard of this? Well, I'll do you one better and show you. Watch this. Watch Anthony Albanese try to explain the grand plan that is Future Made in Australia. These are the types of questions he gets in return.
Prime Minister, just finally on another topic, what do you think about a 3-match suspension for a homophobic slur? We've been talking about it quite a bit on the program this morning. A lot of people pretty disappointed about what we're still seeing on the field in the AFL.
PM, in Queensland, Labor has lost seats at the last federal election, the Queensland by-elections, and lost the Brisbane City Council elections. Who do you think's going worse, Labor in Queensland or the South Sydney Rabbitohs?
They can't mentally grasp it. This is an idea so exciting that everyone from Greens to One Nation voters should be on board. We would have a rare national consensus. Everyone wins. Workers, investors, even fucking mining magnates. This opens up a massive market for them. Unfortunately, the propaganda model's reached its zenith. This is way better than training journalists to ask misleading questions. You just hire people that are too stupid to understand the answers. Meanwhile, the supposed intelligentsia of this country, like this testicle suffering through menopause, Bernard Kane, whinging like the rest of the whinge merchants for years with their whinge merchant catch cry,
Neoliberalism. Australia not manufacturing its own Hello Kitty merchandise is neoliberalism.
Labor announces Future Made in Australia. Even these pricks who try and jam the square peg of neoliberalism into every fucking hole definitely won't fit this one. Nothing remotely neoliberal about bringing back a manufacturing base, so he resorts to
manufacturing employs more men than women, so it's sexist.
the Australia Institute. Same problem. Hard to argue that creating a national supply chain is neoliberalism, and so they move to the nebulous whinging of, how's this line? What a fucking perler. We cannot assume that all breaks with neoliberalism are necessarily progressive. What Trying to shed doubt on the fact that increased state involvement in economic development will benefit workers, the climate, or global peace. Like, seriously, is this even worth retorting? These are the thinkers in this country using their ostensibly mighty brains to come up with ways to cast doubt on something designed to do exactly all of that with no evidence it won't, purely because that's the closest thing we do to thinking in this country. Complaining. I've come to realise this is the biggest problem facing Australia. Even the shadowy mining elite, who I used to think, at least I've got its grand evil plan. I'm sure it's at least intelligent. No, as we saw when we took you behind closed doors of the Council of Doom, it's just a bunch of fat, MAGA-brained, bogan Twitter addicts who are too enamored by Elon Musk's spurgy attempts at charisma that they can't even think in their own long-term interests anymore. They're spending their wealth trying to topple a government that is offering them a massive opportunity on a platter. Here, pigs, come on, oink, oink, oink. Here's a brand new trough to gorge on, an entire new market just for you. Nope. We want to sacrifice all of that because...
What has happened to this 29 billion gas project when the minister later stated she wouldn't delay the project to protect a dangerous grey sea snake, a snake capable of killing us?
That's what they're concerned about. The eye at the top of the pyramid. What keeps her up at night is that Labor won't let her kill off a reptile. What the fuck is wrong with this place? We are sleepwalking away from yet another revolutionary opportunity like Bill Shorten's EV plan. This is that on steroids, but nah, in the bin. Why? Because we're dumb. We're really, really dumb. I'd like to say that we're suffering from brain drain, but this nation never had a brain to drain. So far, the only person that I've seen that even gets what this is, Peter Dutton. He's not an idiot. He understands perfectly well what Labor's doing here. They are trying to educate the working class and organising them because factory jobs are union jobs. Manufacturing is a highly unionised sector. And for that one reason, Dutton wants it dead. He admitted as much at the mining elite Christmas party. And if the Liberals kill that, you know what that leads to? A future not made in Australia. Christ. Imagine how unpopular that would be as a slogan. A future where instead of being at the forefront of developing these critical world-saving technologies, we're stuck buying them from China for another century. No economic justification for it this time, purely just to own the union tards. And for that self-serving satisfaction, the Liberals are perfectly happy to make this nation's future way bleaker, way poorer. Like, to give you a taste of what they're willing to sacrifice, Labor's currently putting in billions of dollars into the green metal industry. And no, I don't mean Australia's famous stoner metal scene, although I do think it would be a comparative advantage to invest in that.
Buds for the bud god.
Or for the legalised cannabis party. Metal smelting that doesn't require emitting CO2 and noxious gases into the environment. It's already underway. South Australian government now owns the Whyalla Steelworks after its previous owner went bust. They're upgrading the steelworks to use an electric arc furnace that would get its energy from zero emission sources. Now, that is still developing technology, but that's the entire point of Future Made in Australia. These technologies are not science fiction. They are in development. Someone will develop them to an industrial scale. And whoever does, to the spoils go he. Adelaide got a big leg up on that one with the $1 billion Green Iron Investment Fund. That's a part of Future Made in Australia. If the Liberals get in, Future Not Made in Australia. That technology gets developed somewhere else.
I'm gonna guess Chad.
Separate but related, the Western Australian Labor government will build a brand new iron smelter in Kwinana, Perth, which will use a special process called NeoSmelt, developed by mining companies to turn low-quality iron ore from the Pilbara into molten iron, which can then be used to make steel. How intelligent is that? Rather than wage war with the resources lobby, which we've tried and failed to do many, many times over, why don't we just become business partners with them? Let's develop technology like that with our money, tie it into theirs, so we get a stake in our own resources instead of falling for the idiot vote grab of,
let's tax the mining companies. Oh, the government got cooed. Let's tax the mining companies. Oh, the government got cooed.
Plenty of other ways governments can get revenue than tax. Or the equally stupid vote grab from the common sense crowd of, remember the good old days when we used to make our own seatbelt fasteners? Let's do it again. No, boomers, stop looking into the past. We have got to look into the future. Crocodile Dundee 4. Pauline Hanson's plan is Crocodile Dundee 3. We tried it. It failed. Time for a cyberpunk reboot featuring easily the best of the Hemsworth brothers, Luke Hemsworth.
Wait, there's a third Hemsworth?
Yes! Just like Crocodile Dundee 3! Just because you don't know it exists doesn't mean that it doesn't! That's exactly like Future Made in Australia! This is not a pie-in-the-sky promise thing. This is being implemented right now. If it is given a few years to take root, it will be impossible to un-implement because you're tying too much private and public capital together to unscramble the egg. That's why the Liberals want to unscramble it now. What I just shared with you are just a couple of quick examples of what Future Made in Australia will develop. Technologies that will make us vastly richer. And what's truly tragic is, it wouldn't just be the lost opportunities of what I just shared with you. The lost opportunities are way bigger than we originally thought.
Thanks to Donald Trump, the greatest American president Australia ever had.
He was right when he said,
you're going to be so proud of your country if I get in. You're going to be so proud of your president, and I don't care about that. But you are going to be so proud of your country because we're going to turn it around and we're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, It's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
I think he was talking about us. I want to get the green card just so I can go vote for him in his hypothetical third term. I mean, his acronym was right. He's making Australia great again. Because under Biden, America was our biggest hypothetical competitor for the green tech future. Just slapped $1 trillion on the table. That attracted trillions in investment. I was thinking, oh, damn, comparatively, this ain't our comparative advantage no more. Then Trump comes in, offers a fantastic deal, guts the shit out of the green tech investment. Then I was thinking,
Well, I guess if Fiji goes underwater, they can't revert to cannibalism.
but then I was listening to an interview in the car. Can't remember who it was. I think it was Richard Marles. Basically, they were asking, are you scared about Trump reversing the climate change efforts? And he said, fuck no. That's what he said. I definitely remember Richard Marles swearing on air. I have a photographic memory. But then the interviewer said, why? And he said, because Trump just freed up trillions of dollars of investment into green tech that was going to the United States, not anymore. That money has to go somewhere, and under Labor, Australia's open for business. So even comparatively to where we were, it's even more in our comparative advantage to go full throttle into this because, as a recap, Future Made in Australia is primarily focused on trying to implement renewable hydrogen, critical minerals processing, green metals, low carbon liquid fuels, clean energy manufacturing, so that's batteries and solar panel supply chains. That's exactly what the trillions of dollars of private investment that Donald Trump snubbed was looking to develop. I tell you, I believe it. We are the lucky country. Once again, our stars have aligned and the only obstacle in our way for heading towards that sweet Southern Cross is ourselves. Remember what I said in part 1. Losers fight battles that are already lost. Winners look for new battlegrounds. Losers believe in the simplistic jingoistic chants of the crossbench, orchestrated by their maestro. Winners gaze upon the new grounds emerging in front of us and think, my word, what fertile grounds they are. Labor first, Liberals last, take that to the polls with you. And let's make Dutton opposition leader again. Yes, we're still selling this shit. No, if you order it now, you won't get one before the election. Still get one anyway. Made in China.